You are listening to the Navigating Adult ADHD podcast with your ADHD coach and expert, Zena. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the podcast. I gotta tell you, I just did a 10-minute timer and I had a fuck around break. That's what I'm calling it. I had this podcast down to record and my brain was just really wrestling with it. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes and I'm just going to fuck around and let my brain fuck around because it wants to. And I actually ended up shopping on Kmart. And by shopping, I mean adding things to cart and just leaving them there. I've ghosted them now. But I went and played on Kmart and I just really focused on doing some breathing and just kind of regulating my internal system so that I could show up and record this podcast. And now I feel great. My little fuck around break. It was so fun. I highly recommend it. So my friend, today I am going to share with you 4 very powerful things. So you don't need to buy another color-coded calendar, some app that says it's going to fix everything and magically make you productive. You don't need to just try harder or become somebody else. Let's be honest, I don't know about you, but I have collected a shitload of planners. I've paid for different apps, different subscriptions, tried all sorts of things and got all of the notebooks as well, thinking that they were magically going to be the one that changed everything. What we actually need is just to understand how to work with the brain that we have, right? How to work with our ADHD brain, our neurodivergent brain. So today I'm actually going to pull back the curtain and I'm going to share with you something that I would normally only give to the people who are inside my program, Adulting with ADHD. Now, I recorded this specific training. I'm going to share this clip with you. I recorded it to help my members get results quickly, without the pressure, without the shame, the perfectionism, having to do it a certain way. And when I listened back, I thought, you know what? Everybody with ADHD needs to hear this. Because these 4 things, they are the foundation of everything, right? If you embrace just one of the things I'm going to share with you, just one, your life will get easier. Your life will improve. So, before I play this clip, I want you to know something, okay? These 4 things I'm about to share, they are the entire reason that some ADHDers transform and some stay stuck. These 4 things are the difference between spiraling versus regulating, right? Calming yourself down, regulating your emotions versus spiraling and freaking the fuck out. They are the difference between, shame and beating yourself up versus having your own back. They're the difference between chaos, running around like a headless chicken versus having the clarity and knowing exactly what to do next and doing it, right? The difference between surviving versus actually living life and enjoying life. Now, they're not complicated, right? They're actually very, very simple, right? This is no, 52-step routines because fuck that. Who's got time for that? Not us, okay? These are simple, easy things that I really want to invite you to embrace because when you do, I promise it will change your life in the best possible ways. So, as I mentioned, this same clip is given to people inside my Adulting with ADHD program. And it's part of the Start Here series. So when they come in, I encourage them to get to the Start Here section to learn how to find everything, where to find everything, because there's so much inside, right? Like loads of courses and workshops and all sorts of things, right? Workbooks, all sorts of cool stuff. And I invite them to look at this and watch this video or just listen to the clip as you're going to do, because it really does set the foundation for everything that comes next and helps them get quick results, quick wins, right? So I want you to listen to this with your whole heart. Because if you take just one thing from these 4 principles, your life could start to improve today. All right? You ready? Let's go. Hello, my friend. In this video, I am going to be sharing with you the 4 things that it takes to get results right here inside Adulting with ADHD, okay? And these are simple, easy, fun things that are actually going to change a lot of different areas of your life if you embrace them, when you embrace them, all right? So the first thing I want to introduce you to is the idea that you do not want to be Pete. Perfectionist Pete. Perfectionist Pete says that he has to show up in here and watch every single video and do every single activity and every single thing that you see here in order, perfectly, that it has to be consistent. No, my friend, no, 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 no. The most consistent thing about adults with ADHD is we are consistently inconsistent. And guess what? You can be inconsistent and hugely successful. Have an amazing life, right? There are so many adults with ADHD out there who have and are doing just that. But they don't do it by being perfectionist Pete, right? Perfection is a fucking problem. Rah, it is. So that's not how we're going to approach things in here. Perfectionist Pete is also very all or nothing. Okay, he's going to do all of the things in here, or he's going to do nothing and just ghost it. It's like, what's the point? I haven't logged in for a week, or I haven't done that thing. I haven't yet gone back and answered that question from that last video I watched, or I haven't done that thing that she said to do in that. No, fuck that. No. Instead, I want you to embrace this. Imperfect is better than perfect. 100%. Right, I want to do a TED talk on that one day. Imperfect is what creates incredible things in the world, right? It's how every invention has ever come about, by going through these imperfect variations of it, right? It's what creates connection in humans. When I share my imperfections with you, when I share things that I've struggled with or challenges I have, you're like, oh, me too. You lean in. Oh my gosh, I thought it was just me. There's such beautiful connection that is created, right? When I'm perfect, you know what, houses are such a great example of this? Have you ever been over to somebody's house? And I house sat once for somebody who had cleaned her house so much so that it looked like a fucking show home. And she had a kid, right? It was her husband and a kid, and they went overseas for 3 months, and I'm house sitting. And it looked like a show home. The fridge looked brand new. It wasn't. There wasn't a hair out of place. That feels awkward and uncomfortable. That level of perfection, ugh, right? You know what I love is when I go into somebody else's home and they've got some washing lying around, some cups on the counter, you know, some crafts in the corner. Like, yes, oh, I can relax, right? I feel at home. I feel more comfortable. So I want to invite you to lower the bar for entry in here in this membership, right? If you watch 3.5 videos, fantastic. And if you come back and start somewhere else, somewhere different the next time, watch something different, fantastic. Right? Imperfect is what gains momentum. Let me share a story with you about this. I worked with a guy a while back now where he came to me, and in the first session he said, my goal for this next week is I want to get up early in the morning, 7 a.m. every morning, and I want to go work out before work. I want to do this 5 days. Get up early, work out. He comes to the session the following week, and I said to him, how did that go? And he says, I failed. I said, what does that mean? He said, well, I only did it 3 times, so I failed. I went, okay, that's interesting. And I drew out 5 circles representing every day of that week, and I ticked 3 of them. And then I drew out 5 circles above that, 5 more above that, and 5 more above that, therefore representing sort of a month. And I said, in the last month, how many times have you got up early and gone to the gym? And he said, apart from last week, none. I said, okay, so all of those circles, they stay empty. Interesting. So what you're saying is that last week, you had a 300% improvement on the past month. And he was like, oh shit, yeah. I was like, but notice your brain discounting the success, discounting the fact that you didn't get up just once, not twice. You did it 3 times and you went to the gym. That's fucking amazing. Especially when we look at how little it was happening. It wasn't even happening, right? Lower the bar for entry, right? Celebrate the progress that you have had. I always say when we're measuring success, right, we want to look at this ladder, and you measure based on, this is where you're starting. You haven't gone to the gym, you haven't got up early for months. But you want to be doing it 5 days a week, right? Getting up at 7 a.m. That's the goal. That's where you want to get to, the top of this ladder, right? We measure progress not by looking at how far we have to go. Oh my God, there's still so far to go. Instead, we look back. Oh wow, I've come a long way. I am 3/4 of the way up this ladder. Wow, that's fantastic. Okay? Measure always looking back. How far have you come? All right, the second thing I want to introduce you to is sprinkling. All right, sprinkling. Sprinkle this membership. Sprinkle using the Facebook group. Sprinkle the tools that you learn into your days, weeks, months. Sprinkle, imperfectly, just sprinkle. A story to represent this is I love to walk. I have discovered that through walking, it helps me to reduce my stress, regulate my emotions, just kind of chill out, get out of my head, all of these sorts of things. And there's a lot of benefits behind walking. I think it's fucking awesome, especially for a busy ADHD brain, trust me. So I did for a while, I had this goal of getting 10,000 steps a day, right? And so I would sprinkle that into my day. In between calls, I would go for a walk around the block. Or I would just do a few sort of jumping up and down, walk around the house, up and down the stairs, just sprinkle it lightly anywhere throughout my day, because that all added up. It's the same with emotional regulation. I sprinkle that into my day. Right? I'll use some EFT tapping. I'll do some breathing in between calls, videos, whatever. I'll just lightly sprinkle it in. And that all adds up. So I want you to approach this in the same way. Sprinkle it in throughout your day, your week, your month. And number 3, everything is an experiment. Everything. And you are your greatest experiment, my friend. You truly are. So to demonstrate this, when I first started taking ADHD medication, I thought, great, okay, I've been given this prescription, it's going to be great. It wasn't. The very first stimulant that I took, over time, I was becoming more and more sort of restless and more all over the place. And my anxiety level went up and my mood went down, and that happened gradually over time. And so what I had to do is I had to really lean in to experimenting. I tried a different medication. Do I take it now? Do I take it later in the day? Then I went to a long release instead of just a short release, and I had to experiment. Also, do I take it with protein? How is my sleep? Am I getting enough hydration? I had to experiment with all of these different things to make it most effective and make it work for me. It is the same with emotional regulation, for example. Like I have to experiment with, well, using that tool here, does that help me or does that not? Okay, it didn't help me. Actually, it made me feel worse doing that, or it didn't do anything at all. That's great data to have. Woo! Now that I've got that data, next time I'm going to run a different experiment. I'm going to do something different. Data is incredible. We love data. Right? It's not a reason to beat ourselves up. Oh, that didn't work. I'm so shit. No. You just got data. You got some gold. You're running experiments. Fantastic. Right? Everything is an experiment. And this is good news. And it's fun. It's so fun when everything's an experiment. Okay? Number 4, practice and play. This gets to be fun. Practice. When we are learning something new, like take riding a bike, for example, right? If you don't get on the bike and cycle, you're not going to learn how to cycle, right? In order to work with your brain, you've got to practice the things that you are learning. You've got to practice the tools that you get in here, okay? And that doesn't have to be in a perfectionist, Pete kind of a way, right? We're just going to sprinkle it in throughout our day. But in order for things to become automatic, in order for you to automatically be able to regulate your emotions, to be able to handle situations in, more positive ways, in order for you to not get, feel attacked and criticized and like the RSD has grabbed you when you get some feedback, we have to practice these things manually before they flick over to autopilot, okay? It's just like, when you get in a car now, you just know how to drive. But once upon a time, it was like, oh, this is clunky and weird, and you really had to think about it, right? We had to practice it before it became something that we just automatically did. It is the same in here, right? All of that practicing adds up, and then one day we just flick things onto autopilot. I had a client recently say to me, yeah, I haven't had Doris is the name of her brain, the mean part of her brain. Said to me, I haven't had Doris show up for a while. In fact, actually, things have been going really, really well. And I said, oh, do you think it's because you've now kind of on autopilot are talking to yourself in a better way? And she's like, yeah, I think so. Every time Doris shows up, I just knock her down. I was like, fantastic. It's because you've kept practicing it. All of a sudden one day you're like, oh wow, I just do that automatically. Right? I'm at the top of my ladder. Wow. Okay? And play. This gets to be fun. We get to do this in a fun way. Play is so good for us because it produces dopamine and serotonin, all of these good brain chemicals that you're going to learn about right here inside the membership. So be playful with it. Have fun with it. Right? If you're listening to this when you're out walking in the car, fantastic. Right? Play with the tools. Play with the things that you are learning. You can't fuck it up, I promise. Can't do it wrong. Okay? But perfectionist Pete thinks you can. We're not Pete. We're not going to be Pete. Now, anytime your brain says to you, I can't do that, or I don't have time for that, I want you to ask yourself this question. What can I do? Okay, I've got 5 minutes. What can I do? I'll go watch this video. Right? I've got 5 minutes. I can't watch the whole emotional regulation course, but I can watch that one video on EFT tapping and tap along with Zena. Fantastic. Boom. You are winning. What can I do? When you change the question, you change the answer, you change the entire outcome. Such a good question because our brain's like, well, I can't do that and I don't have time. Great. What can I do? What do I have time for? Change the question. Okay? Focus on the small wins. And if an airplane was to change course by 1 degree, it would end up in a completely different place. When you're doing just 1%, doing something different 1% a day, right? That adds up over time. You end up in a completely different destination. Okay? Remember that, the 1%, 1%, that shit adds up. All right. That is it, my friend. These 4 things, imperfect is better than perfect. Sprinkle this throughout your day. Everything's an experiment. That's so fun, right? You are your greatest experiment. You're always learning, gathering data. It's so good. Number 4, we got to practice the things before they flick over to autopilot and play. Have fun with it. Okay? And remember to ask your brain this question. What can I do? My friend, these 4 things that I just shared with you, they are just the beginning. Okay? When you combine them with emotional regulation skills, which I teach you inside Adulting with ADHD, okay? When you combine it with the tools that actually work for ADHD brains and the shitloads of courses and workshops that you get inside. For example, we've got managing RSD, how to beat procrastination, what the fuck is ADHD and how do I work with my brain. We've got managing and increasing dopamine, how to heal from and prevent ADHD burnout, right? That's just a snippet of the courses and the workshops that you get inside. That is what we do together inside Adulting with ADHD. It's not perfection, there's no pressure, there's none of that try harder crap. No unrealistic routines or neurotypical bullshit, right? We do imperfect action, sprinkling tools throughout your real life, experimentation, practice, play, real emotional regulation, real ADHD-friendly tools and systems, real transformation. So, if those 4 principles landed for you, if something inside you went, shit, you know what, that makes a lot of sense, then you will thrive inside the membership. So the doors are open right now, but not for long. Click the link in this episode or head to navigatingadultadhd.com/AWA. That stands for Adulting with ADHD. And I would love to support you on the inside. Huge, huge love, my friend. Have a beautiful week. Hey friend, if you want some more help navigating and thriving with ADHD and some help applying everything that you're learning here on the podcast, then head over to our website, navigatingadultadhd.com.